Hey everybody, I am back from Rainbow and wow, what an experience. I mean to tell you, it was amazing. So this video is the drive out and I will be talking at the end to tell you all about the Rainbow Gathering. So stay tuned for that. Peace. Okay, this was my view, my campsite. It's July 4th, and my friend Chris and I have decided to go ahead and leave. And so I'm videoing the ride. It's kind of sketchy getting out of here. We've had a lot of rain, like every single day. We've had rain. There's a big mud puddle right here. Go up here and turn around because I couldn't make that turn. It's my friend Chris in front of me. This is the road we hiked on every evening. This camp back from the main camp, and I never made it to the main meadow for multiple reasons. I couldn't make this walk, but I also found out this morning, and I was planning on trying to get down there today, that there has been a COVID outbreak and there's a lot of active COVID cases, and that was not something that I felt like I could deal with. This is where a lot of people park and hike in from here. A couple people are camping here, as you can see. Well, you probably can't see. There's a few tents out in the field to my right. It was a beautiful location, but not a lot of options for vehicles, so that was problematic. another parking area we're coming up on. This is where Handy Camp is. And they had no room for me, so that's why I was at the very back camp. Oh, that's a nice tent. Very nice. Wow. A lot more vehicles than when I came in. This is not Handy Camp, I was wrong. This is overflow parking. And if I had have known we could have parked here when I came in, this is where I would have parked. But they are just in the trees and up on top of each other. Road is definitely much worse than when I came in. Okay, let's see how I can do this. Ugh. Okay, we are going the opposite way from the way I came in, but this is the trailhead where you walk down to the main meadow. Handy Camp is back to my right, and so is main camp. I highly recommend going to a rainbow gathering if you've never gone to one before, but let me give you a few tips. I got there 2 days early, 2 days before the official start, right? And it was already full. The main parking area was full. Bus camp was full. Handy Camp was full. So my recommendation is going in at least a week, maybe a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks early, and help with setup. And that way you'll get a prime parking area. Yeah. I never made it down to the main meadow. The main meadow is where all the main kitchens are, all the tents, all the activities, all the fun. So I never made it down there. But I had a fabulous time and I met some incredibly awesome people. So where I was camped, where I was parked, as you saw in the video, was way back. It was about 5 miles from the main meadow. And it was probably about 3 miles from the trailhead to hike to the main meadow. So I would have had to hike for 5 miles one way, carrying all my shit. There was no way I was going to be able to do that. However, where I was parked became like a little community in and of itself, and I met the most fabulous people. There were so many amazing people. When I first was coming in, of course, I picked up a young lady in Denver before I headed up to Craig to the Rainbow Gathering. Her name is Ivy. Hi, Ivy. She's a sweetheart. And her dog, Lily. And Lily got along with my dogs really well, and they had a great time. So she rode all the way from Denver into the gathering with me, and we just hit it off. She's so young. She's like 20 and just the sweetest thing ever. Very, very spiritually evolved for her age, I will have to say. And then when we got to Craig, we went to the Walmart. I had to get more ice and decided to buy another cooler because I knew there was no way I was going to drive out from the gathering to get ice. It was like 40 miles back after you turned on to the National Forest Road. So we're talking 40 miles of dirt road, and it was raining, so it was a muddy road, but there's so much I have to tell you. So we get to Craig, we go to the Walmart, and Ivy and I both decided we were going to try to find someone who looked like they were going to Rainbow to follow in, because it was so far back that the GPS just wasn't really accurate, and the handwritten directions to me were a little confusing. Of course, that might have been MS brain. I don't know. But I felt like I needed to follow someone in. And so, sure enough, in line, there was this dude named Mike, super nice dude, and another guy, gosh, I can't remember his name. Anyway, I asked if they were going to Rainbow, and they said yes, they were. And so I asked if we could follow them in, and they said, of course. So that's what we ended up doing. Anyway, so we leave Craig, we get out to where you're going to turn off the highway onto the dirt road. We get onto the dirt road, and we ended up being in a caravan of about maybe 7 to 9 vehicles, give or take. And I am so glad we were following those guys in, because there were so many turns and twists, and they had already been there. They were just in town getting food supplies for one of the kitchens. And all the food that they serve there is free. You don't have to pay for anything. Now, they do pass around a hat for you to donate for the food costs, but everything's free. From what I heard, because I wasn't down there, the majority of it was vegan or vegetarian, but there were still some kitchens that served meat. They had kitchens that served breakfast, kitchens that were just coffee only, or things like that. Yeah, it was really cool from what I've heard. Anyway, so we're on this dirt road, and it's raining, so it's, mud, and it's slicker than snot, and I'm slip sliding all over the place, but made it with no incidents. And so we get to where the actual gate is to go into the area where the gathering is, and there are just cops lined up on each side of the road. There's LEO from the Forest Service. There's sheriff from the county, local cops from the towns surrounding the gathering, and I think there was even some FBI there. They kind of looked, you know how FBI looks. And so they're all parked along the side of this dirt road, and they're just standing there like this, and I'm waving, and Ivy's waving. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, when we left Craig, there was a guy on the side of the road named Sean. We stopped and picked him up. He was heading into Rainbow, so he was a super nice guy. Anyway, so it's Ivy and I in the front seat and Sean in the back here, and we're just waving at them, and they're like, a couple of them did wave. And then we go through this other fence, cattle guard, and then just past that, there's a line of cop cars, a whole bunch of them, and they have got people pulled off to the side. Now, mind you, it's raining. They are pulling everything out of these people's vehicles, because guess what? Even though we're in Colorado and weed is legal, we were on federal land and it's not legal. So they were using that to harass people. If you had anything hanging from your rearview mirror, they would pull you out. If you had a cracked windshield, any reason, like one of my campmates, they pulled them over to search their vehicle because they didn't have a front license plate. They're from New Mexico. New Mexico doesn't issue a front license plate. Come on, assholes. Anyway, pouring down rain, pulling everything out of these people's vehicles and putting it in the mud on the side of the road, not covering it. It's getting drenched. And then, of course, when they're through searching, the person whose vehicle they searched have to put everything back in. Drenched, muddy, ruined, all their shit. I heard later that there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tickets that were issued. And for a minute they had court right out there in the wilderness. But the ones that they got later have to go to whatever city they're assigned to go to court. And they even confiscated a guy's CBD and gave him a ticket. Not THC, CBD. Asshole cops. Anyway, I digress. So we get past that. I'm not kidding. It took us 2+ hours once we turned off the highway to get back to Main Gate. And we get to Main Gate. And of course, the guys in front of me that we followed in had already been there. So they were able to turn in and go and park in their spot that they left. But there was no spot for me. Bus camp completely full. I got there on the 29th, 2 days before the official start. Bus camp full, main parking lot full. They said, go on down the road. So we went on down the road. Get to Handy Camp. Nope, it's full. Keep going. So we kept going and we kept going. And every place that we passed was either you couldn't park there because the Forest Service had roped it off. And I don't have a problem with that because they were protecting, sensitive environments. No problem with that. Finally get to a place and they said, yeah, there might be a few spots available. Well, what they called spots, it was a meadow full of flowers, gorgeous flowers. I don't know what they were, mountain daisies or something. I don't know what they were. Beautiful flowers. And, but we had to park in there on the flowers. And so I'm like, it's 8:30 at night, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can, it's pouring down rain. So I stopped in the road. Sean got out with me. Ivy got out with me. There were these really nice young men next to where I eventually ended up parking named Matt and Chris. Fabulous young men. Had been to many rainbows before. And they helped us figure out, and then I backed in. Unfortunately, because the flowers were so tall, they were like knee high on me. We didn't notice that there was a lot of logs within all of those flowers, and I ended up running over a few, but no damage done. Just kind of a pain in the ass. And I get parked, and so I stayed there the entirety of the time I was there. And throughout that time, I met so many wonderful people. The people who parked next to me, Cinda and Mike, met at a rainbow gathering 20 some odd years ago and have been together and married, kids, the whole nine, ever since. And they were back, and they were super fabulous people. They had a couple of lady friends that came in a couple days later. One of them was named Summer, and I can't for the life of me remember the other lady's name. Super fabulous people. On the other side of me, a young man who I'm still traveling with named Chris. He camps in a Tesla. Yeah, it's an incredible car, by the way. And he's a digital nomad. It was his first rainbow. And so he was parked next to me. And then, of course, Matt and the other Chris were parked on the other side. And they just took Ivy under their wing, which was the sweetest thing ever. Matt had a fabulous dog named Willow, got along with Django really well. But anyway, they said that they would help me get down to the meadow on the 4th of July, which is the only day I really wanted to go in. And we had, kind of made tentative plans for me to do that. A couple of cars over from Matt and Chris was a lady named Melanie, and she worked in the medical tent. Amazing woman, very knowledgeable about natural remedies, great person, loved her. And then another couple, Chris Ann and John, I spent a lot of time with them because they were camping where I was, but hiking in when they wanted to go to the meadow. Fabulous couple. I really enjoyed their company. Hi, Chris Ann. Hi, John. Anyway, so I spent, the 29th, 30th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So 6 days there. Had a wonderful time, even though I never got into the meadow. Well, on the morning of the 4th, we were planning, my friend in the Tesla, Chris, was going to drive me down to the main gate, and then we were going to try to hike in together. He was going to help me get in just for the day. But Melanie, the lady that worked at the medical tent, she was back at her vehicle, and she said there was a COVID outbreak. So we made the decision not to go in, and we left that day. And so that's what you saw is part of the drive out. But all in all, I had a wonderful time. Next year, if I decide to go, depending on what state it's in and where I am at the time they announce the location, if I decide to go again, I will definitely get there at least a week and a half early. But I definitely enjoyed myself. It was wonderful. I met some incredible people, and I highly recommend it. Okay, I know this video's been long, and I thank you for hanging in. I love you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.